Hi, it's Elise again. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what do you do when you meet a snake in the grass or you find out that somebody in your life is a snake in the grass. I love that term, snake in the grass, because, it brings up so many images, right? Okay, have you ever had someone betray you? There's a lot of different connotations that go with snakes. So I started looking up their actual characteristics, which I found fascinating and explain why we call people that hurt us and betray us snakes in the grass. Okay, you want to hear them? Snakes are cold-blooded. They regulate their temperature by geography. Snakes are adaptable. They can be like chameleons and change to suit their prey. Snakes are carnivorous. They're meat eaters. Snakes have huge jaws that clench tight to kill prey. In other words, they bite. Snakes have a forked tongue, and it's used to, interestingly enough, to test the air of the energy of their prey. So when that tongue comes out, it's testing you. Snakes have a keen sense of smell, and snakes have the ability to read life around them through smell and vibration. It's kind of like a sixth sense with this special gland that they have on the top of their mouth. And it starts with a J. I think it's Jonathan's or something like that. Johansson or something like that gland. But it's on the roof of their mouth, which I find freaky. And the most important, venomous. They can be venomous and they can kill. They can actually kill you. So think about life and the metaphor here. All right. Have you ever had a snake in the grass in your life? Have you ever had someone betray you? Think about what do they do? They lie. There's the forked tongue. They cheat. They're very adaptable, right? They talked about you behind your back, jaws that bite. They say one thing and they do another. They change like a chameleon depending on to suit their need. They care only about themselves and their survival. So, isn't that the snake in the grass that can be cold-blooded, right? And you're in their life because you're useful energy to feed off of. They're carnivorous. And they spew venom and poison, which means they can actually kill you. Well, of course, the kill you is in a metaphoric state as I'm using it here. It can kill you emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, if you allow it. And we're going to talk today about what to do when you have a snake in the grass in your life. So the first thing is you look at your feelings. You feel betrayed. You feel like an idiot for trusting them. Your mind goes on a pity party. Oh, poor me. They hurt me. They're evil. I'm good. They're evil, right? It's not about you. It's about them. Blame, blame, blame. And you want to hurt them like they hurt you. That's natural human instinct to protect yourself. So let's talk about what you should do. Don't do any of that because it will come back to haunt you. All of those negative feelings you have to sort through, and you do that by keeping silent, not fighting back, but looking at what is right for me, what is good for me, and by finding what's good for you and what brings you peace, you can get beyond it. So how do you find peace? Well, number one, you can do meditation. That calms the mind, and that could help, but it doesn't bring you total peace necessarily. What about confronting them? Well, if you can stay sane without hurting them, And you can have a discussion about it. Absolutely. Confront the person that's betraying you. But, chances are, if they're a snake in the grass, they're not going to own it. So it's really not about blaming them for their actions or setting things right. If they're a snake in the grass, they're not going to make things right. And you have to walk that through and find out if they're really a snake in the grass, right? And you can't blame them, even though what they did was wrong, because we have energies within us that we need to learn about. And what that simply means is I have those traits too. We're all connected. So we all have those abilities to lie, cheat, steal, um, be cold blooded, to be venomous, to be carnivorous meat eaters. That's a horrible sound, isn't it? And we all have a forked tongue at times. So here's the answer: the antidote to bitterness, resentment, and anger, and rage, even. Want to hear it? Forgiveness. Oh, I know. It's like the hardest thing in the world to do, to forgive someone that deeply wounded you in the heart. I work with tarot, and one of my destiny card is actually the Three of Swords, which is, the pierced heart has three swords in it. And so often I have to go in and take those swords out and forgive. That's what it's about. It's not about using the sword to keep somebody up or, move them out of your life. So, does that mean that I have to keep them in my life? Absolutely not. In fact, I would recommend, if you've been betrayed deeply, that you don't keep them in your life, because snakes in the grass repeat their behavior. It's their characteristic. It is a natural trait. Okay. Something they've learned, behavior they've learned, and it's not your job to rescue them or save them. But it is your job to go within and find out where you have some of these qualities within you. Now, even Jesus, when he died on the cross, said, "Forgive them, that they know not what they do," right? So Jesus is hanging on the cross, dying, and he's forgiven the guy next to him hanging on the cross, who was a thief and, a snake in the grass, right? So that's, an example that's beyond the beyond. Nobody's asking you to go on a cross and be killed and forgive somebody that killed you, or forgive, the guy on the cross. We're asking you to look within and, number one, forgive yourself. Because guess what? You allowed them in your life. You drew them in. They're in your life for you to learn a deep lesson. Look at what the betrayal was about. What's the lesson there? Look at why they lied. Are they just, do you have a habit of attracting serial connivers, serial liars, serial people, serial being attracted to people who are have addictive behaviors or addictions? Look at that, because that's the energy that spirit is showing you to clear. It's crazy. It feels awful because you have been wronged. You have swords in your heart. So this is at least telling you how to pull those swords out one at a time. Okay. Does that mean I never think about it again? That's impossible. It's an experience that will be lodged in your mind and your heart forever. Does that mean I keep it to myself and ghost them? Nope, it's not. Does that mean I cut them out of all parts of my life? Well, maybe, but not necessarily. Sometimes you can forgive them and they come around later in life, and you don't sit around and wait for that, because they are a snake in the grass and they will repeat their behavior. However, unless they come back, apologize, and say, I'm really sorry, I see what I did. You don't have to keep them in their life. So why are we called to forgive people? Well, believe it or not, it's for ourselves. It's not for the other person. It's for us. Number one, once you forgive and you remove that sword out of your heart, you can be clear. You can let go, and that feeling, those resentments, that anger, that angst, that hatred and rage and the desire to hurt them, that goes away. It takes time. It doesn't mean you're going to do it overnight. My prayer has always been, Spirit, I see what I'm doing. I see that I'm enraged by this person after they hurt me so badly. Please remove the rage so that I can calm down and forgive them. Help me clear myself of this negative trait. Help me clear myself of the bitterness. Help me to clear myself of the lack of clarity that would attract someone like this in. Because I'm responsible for everybody in my life, only in terms of who I let in and the lessons that I need to learn. I've created the situations. Doesn't mean I'm responsible for them hurting me. They could be total snakes, right? But I am responsible for learning a lesson from it. And learning a lesson you can't do until you go to forgiveness and go within. So I hope you enjoyed laughing about the snakes in the grass in your life. But I really want you to take a big look and ask yourself, where do I need to forgive? I was in a seminar once, and there was a training seminar, and the trainer had a question from the audience. The question from the audience says, I was molested repeatedly by my grandfather and or my father, whoever it was. And now he wants to see my children. And I have forgiven him, but I don't feel like I can let my children go. And the trainer, believe it or not, said, well, then you haven't forgiven him. I disagree with that statement. I think you can forgive someone and you cannot have them in your life. And if it's someone that has hurt you physically or could hurt others, it's your job to protect them. So learn from that. Learn from your own negative experience and learn how to create boundaries. Remember, we talked about the boundaries in life. This is another boundary. How do you deal with snakes in the grass? How do you forgive them? And what should and shouldn't you do? It's really critical to heal yourself. And why should we heal ourselves? Why not just stay enraged? Because it hurts us. And we attract in more rage. We attract in more dysfunction. That energy is in our energy body. And that energy is what, along with our thoughts, is what creates our life. So think about this. Every time something happens to you and you're wounded like that, the more you think about it, the more you recreate it. So as those thoughts come up, you can't control that, but you can set them aside and just say, thank you, Spirit, help me to forgive. Thank you, Spirit, help me to forgive. Thank you, Spirit, thank you for showing me my lesson. And bless that person so that they never do it again. And then you don't have to have them in your life. You can move on. And I suggest that you do. Snakes in the grass have a lot of traits that we don't want to keep in our lives, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this thing on betrayal and having snakes in your life. I certainly have in my life. And I hope you find it useful and helpful. Comment, if you will. And if you are interested, I do a healing on Tuesday nights on Meetup. It's called Conscious Conversations and Meditation with Elise Monet. And in that, I also give a healing meditation. It's free. It's Meetup, and I do a healing meditation that sends energy from spirit through me to those in the room. And it's online. You can look it up on Meetup. I'll post a link below so that you have it. But I'd love for you to join me. It's 7 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Okay. Thank you. Namaste. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll talk soon.